We're going to talk about reading fluency. Reading fluency is one of the components of reading. One of the 6, we have fluency, comprehension, vocabulary, word identification, phonics, and phonemic awareness. You'll be teaching a fluency lesson in your field experience using a modeled reading approach. Some things for you to think about as a pre-service teacher is, what do you know about fluency? What's your experience with it? Where is fluency covered in the core? How does it progress in the core? It's more visible in the K2 core than other years, but fluency does go throughout. So let's go ahead and start with the basics of definitions. This is the simplest form of a definition, is the ability to read quickly, accurately, and with proper expression. If we get into a little more detail of fluency definitions, this adds in the ability to recognize words automatically, help gain meaning, and reading aloud effortlessly, therefore sounding natural. One more definition adds in the focus of attention is on the meaning and the message of the text. And that's really where we want to get students to accomplish and get to. So what grade level do most students reach the fluent stage? It's typically 2nd or 3rd grade. And why is that important? We've talked about that in class a couple times already, but the 2nd or 3rd grade benchmark is important because we're no longer learning to read, we're now reading to learn, or we're reading for meaning. The type of reading skill in the Common Core for fluency is under foundational, meaning that you need that as a foundation before you move into the other skills. Different contributing factors to fluency. First, we have accuracy, which is where students are recognizing familiar words automatically without conscious thought and identify unfamiliar words almost as quickly. The 3 levels that take into account students' ability to recognize words automatically is going into the independent, the instructional level, and the frustration level. So frustration level, we have less than 90%, instructional level 90 to 94%, and the independent level 95% and above. The next contributing factor is speed. Fluent readers read at least 100 words per minute. Most students reach this 100 words a minute by 3rd grade, and the reading speed continues to increase with 8th grade students reading approximately 150 words per minute and adults reading 250 words a minute or more. The next one is prosody, which is the compilation of spoken language features that include stress or emphasis, pitch variations, intonation, reading rate, and pausing. Excuse me. The theory of automaticity states that more fluent readers are able to focus their active attention on the meaning and the message versus having to put time and effort into reading individual words. The exact opposite is less fluent readers have to spend the majority of their time and effort in the act of reading, leaving little attention for comprehension. Okay, when we get into automatic reading, the second contributing factor, let's see, the first 100 words are learned in 1st grade, and they have 300 words by 2nd or 3rd grade. The 100 high-frequency words that are learned by 1st grade account for more than half of the words people read and write. So a lot of times in classrooms, you'll see word walls, and in the beginning years, you see a lot of those 100 high-frequency words. But if you have a student really struggling with fluency, you always want to go back to that 100 high-frequency words and then make sure they're able to work through those 300, which once again, that benchmark is 2nd or 3rd grade. Different word identification strategies, which we'll get into more when we're working with word identification, is phonic analysis, which is basically applying phonic rules to analyze letter sequences. Decoding by analogy, which is identifying words by associating them with words they already know. For instance, small, they may already know the word all or ball. Syllabic analysis is to divide longer words into syllables, only one vowel sound in each syllable, even though there may be more than one vowel letter. And morphemic analysis, which is locating the root word and then working on the prefixes, which is the beginning of a root word, and suffixes, which is the ending part of the word. When we get into reading speed, the goal here is really helping students get to the reading speed so that the focus is switched. Instead of reading individual words, it's focused on meaning, also known as comprehension. Reading speed continues to increase with 8th grade students reading 150 words a minute, and then, as I said earlier, eventually getting to 250 words a minute. Once again, fluent readers read at least how many words a minute? Go ahead and answer right now, and then I'll give you the answer. Hopefully you said 100 words per minute. You need to read 100 words per minute to be fluent, but it continues to go up throughout schooling. Some different strategies for fluency. First one is choral reading, which is reading aloud in unison. Reader's theater, which is oral reading of scripts without memorizing the script. Audio assisted reading, which is reading along in a book while hearing a fluent reader read. And partner reading, which is a research-based strategy to read aloud to partners. Prosody is reading expressively by using your voice to add meaning to words. The different components of prosody include expression, phrasing, volume, smoothness, and pacing. Each of these elements need to be worked on with students to be able to read expressively using the voice to add meaning. Assessing fluency is a tough thing and often ignored in our K-12 system. But some different ways to be able to assess fluency is assessing their automaticity, the ability to automatically say words. Check the knowledge of high-frequency words. Kindergarten, they should have 24 high-frequency words down. By 1st grade, 100 high-frequency words. 2nd grade, 200 high-frequency words. And 3rd grade, 300 high-frequency words. And the ability to use word identification strategies when they come to a word that they don't know. For example, we talked earlier about using familiar words, not knowing how to say the word ball, but maybe they know the word all, and they'd be able to put the B sound in front of the word all to be able to pretty quickly be able to say the word ball. Also assessing speed, doing timed readings at an instructional level passage, which is words comprehended per minute. And assessing prosody, using excerpts to read at the instructional level, and assessing using checklists and rubrics. It's very important to assess fluency, even though sometimes it can be a little time consuming. It's such an important thing to do because, like we said earlier, it is a foundational skill that students will need to be able to comprehend and do that automatic reading. In conclusion, fluency is incredibly important, and it's related to reading comprehension, as you heard a couple times throughout the presentation. Factors that affect fluency include accuracy, speed, and prosody. Each item needs to be worked on And we have different strategies, the word identification strategies and fluency strategies to help with these factors. And it must be assessed to measure progress, make instructional decisions, and provide interventions.